So contrary to what some New Age spiritual teachings may have you believe, enlightenment is about becoming more aware of the darkness, more aware of all of creation. See, when we become aware of the darkness, we can heal it within ourselves and we can choose the light. So you can't choose the light when you're not aware of the darkness. See, what's happening as we go through this spiritual evolution of consciousness, we become aware of the darkness in ourselves. We become aware of those parts in us that are out of alignment with our true nature, with our true core purpose, with our higher self. And it comes to the surface for healing. All these negative parts of us, the parts of us that get frustrated because things are going right, the parts of us that get angry with people, the parts of us that feels a victim. You know, we feel so victimized by society, but when we come to realize that we create our own reality, we can heal this. And this is why these negative beliefs come to surface, like these victimization ideas. They come to the surface in ourselves for healing, for transmuting, and the same thing happens on a global level in our outer reality. What's happening is, as we're all becoming more enlightened, we're becoming aware of the darkness that exists in our reality. And we can't hide from these things, because we have to become aware of them to make the choice. If you're not aware of the darkness, you can't choose not to choose it. When you're aware of the darkness, you can sort of heal it in yourself. You can validate it as a valid expression of reality, and you cannot try and push it away. It's accepting that the darkness is part of our reality, part of infinity. And when you accept that and you see it as a valid choice of creation, the option to choose it is the option to choose the light becomes available to us. See, when you try and push away something through the law of attraction, you're actually pulling it towards you. So when you're actually fighting the darkness, you're actually attracting it towards you. So what we need to understand, it's all about seeing the darkness, understanding it's not what we want, and moving in another direction without fighting against it. It's simply about choosing another direction. So what happens is that when we see the darkness that exists in our reality, when we see that these governmental powers, and I mentioned that like David Cameron and Barack Obama are the darkness, and they're not really. I mean, I think Barack Obama probably had positive intentions when he went into the cabinet, when he took his leadership, but he didn't realise that everything's controlled by these shadow governments, by these dark societies, by these entities within the CIA, within the NSA, all these alphabet soups within the banking system, within the military-industrial complex that have gained so much power. I mean, Bill Clinton asked to be informed about the UFO files, and he was told by the head of the CIA, Papa Bush at the time, that he couldn't have access. I mean, if the President of the United States can't have access to the extraterrestrial UFO files, who the fuck can? And so this enlightenment, this expansion of consciousness we're going through at the minute, is all about becoming more aware of the darkness so we can choose the light. And the places we need to look to find out where this darkness is coming from, we need to look at events like 9/11, because 9/11 was very dubious. It looks like it was probably a controlled demolition. We need to look at 7/7, the London bombings and the London Underground. Very dubious, possibly Tony Blair involved with them. And we need to look at things like how the banking infrastructure of all the world, like we need to look at these huge rich families like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, and what they're doing to keep the power in the few and not in the many. We need to look at the military-industrial complex and how they've turned it into an industry, and how they've become autonomous to themselves, because they've got all these super high-tech technologies, some of them which they've reverse engineered from extraterrestrial crashes, like possibly fiber optics, PCBs. These possibly came from the Roswell crash, it's believed, I don't know for sure. But what they do is they're all these technologies that they retrieve, and even the stuff they're working on, they work out themselves. They monetize it and they sell it to the public, and they've sold PCBs, printed circuit boards, the microchip, fiber optics to the public, and they were creating a huge wealth for themselves. And this is like what Vietnam was about, because Vietnam was like a false flag event like 9/11. The Gulf of Tonkin event, I believe that's what it's called. The US bombed their own ship just outside Vietnam, blamed it on the Vietnamese, and started a war, because this is how they do it. This is why they did 9/11 in a controlled demolition. This is why a lot of this terrorism is either being allowed to happen or it's created artificially through like the CIA and all these alphabet soup societies. And where was I going? I'm completely lost. But basically, yeah, it's becoming more aware of this darkness. We need to look at all these places where the darkness exists. See what they're doing with covering up all this UFO phenomena. They like become entities to themselves. There's all these like black budget projects, and they're like completely free from oversight from Congress or Obama. They don't. It's somewhere in the 50s. They still had control, like they had congressional oversight of these black budget problems, and it's like projects, problems, whatever. And yeah, I mean, it was a few days before 9/11. I think it was either, was it Donald Rumsfeld or Dick Cheney? He said that like something like $2.3 trillion is unaccounted for. And it's because it's all being fed into these black budget projects, and they're all being funded in the most insane ways you believe. I mean, probably the reason why drugs are still illegal on this planet is because they're all being trafficked by the CIA. The CIA has been caught trafficking cocaine on multiple accounts, and this is how they fund all this dark side, all these black budget projects to create all these super high-tech war machines that dominate the world. And so this is what we need to look to. We need to look to the military and industrial complex. We need to look to the NSA. I mean, a fantastic documentary to watch is Citizen 4, where it's Edward Snowden. He was he worked for the NSA, and he was the one discovered that the NSA was monitoring like everything everyone does, like every email you send, every website you visit, every time you spend something on a credit card, every time you log in on your phone, every time you like use a store card, you know, where you get these discounts. You go to the co-op or Tesco's, and they say, do you have a Tesco club card? And you put it in. Everything is tracked, all tracked by this big system within the NSA. And I think the one in the British government was called GCHQ or something like that, GHCQ. And Edward Snowden released they had a court trial where all the heads of the NSA said, they were asked, are you monitoring public? Are you keeping files and everything the public does? And they're like, no, we don't do anything. And then Edward Snowden blew the whistle on this, and he's currently in exile in Russia because, and like they couldn't deny it because he like totally proved that it was, and it came out in the Guardian newspaper. And I highly suggest you watch Citizen 4 so you understand how this system works. And also, if you're on this path like me of exposing this secret agenda, it's really inspirational to see Edward Snowden like put his own life on the line. He understood he's probably going to end up in jail, and luckily he hadn't. Perhaps there's higher guidance looking after him, and that's why he's gained he's being looked after in Russia. He's safe in Russia at the minute because the US government want to slam him in jail because they disclose what all this dodgy stuff the NSA is doing, how they're monitoring everything you do. And so these are the places we need to look at. This is where we need to look at the darkness within our society so we can heal it and we can move on and create a new reality. Because when we become aware of the darkness, when we become aware that like David Cameron and the British government, they're all manipulated. They don't make any real decisions. Like the decisions on whether to release the UFO files, whether to have an inquiry into 9/11, whether to look into the corruption within the banking system, whether to create a new system, whether to look into the military-industrial complex, all these decisions, like David Cameron doesn't have any say in that. And that's why nothing changes. That's why government's gone. There's still a war in the Middle East. There's still all these false flag events. The banks still control the world. The military-industrial complex has gone crazy. It's because they don't have any say. See, when I said that like David Cameron and like Barack Obama were for the dark, they were probably good people. David Cameron probably wanted to do the right thing. He gets into government, he's manipulated by these people. They say, fear, fear, fear. If you say this, people are going to die. If you say this, they probably even get subtle threats to their families. Like, if you start talking about this, your families might go in some dodgy direction. That's how they work this. And it's really this understanding that the darkness is completely taken over our society, and really it is one big dark occult magic spell trying to control the world. And it's becoming aware of this that will enable us to create a new life, a new love-like reality on planet Earth. It's this understanding that will set us free. The truth will set you free. The truth will set you free, but it might piss you off first. And so we need to look at this. We need to look at the July 7/7 bombings. We need to look at whether Princess Diana was assassinated. We need to look at whether 9/11 was an inside job. We need to ask questions and demand answers like the truth 9/11 truthers say. We need to look at the banking scandal. We need to look at how these families like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers control all the money and how it's all held in this elite view. We need to look about who's pulling the strings behind David Cameron and Barack Obama. We need to look at who's covering up the UFO phenomena. We need to look at the CIA, the NSA, all these alphabet soups. These are the people that are controlling the planet. This is where the darkness exists. And this is only a positive message, because as we come to understand the darkness, see, why I'm talking about this now is because it's all falling apart. The economy is collapsing. It's totally inevitable over the next couple of years, probably towards the end of this year, the economy is going to collapse. It's because the light is becoming too high and the vibration, like the truth vibrations, as David Icke, I don't agree with everything David Icke says. I don't agree with everything Stephen Greer says. I believe they're both not spot on with everything, but they're all onto something. And as our vibration raises, it's like the old system no longer serves us. Like the majority of us on this planet now want a civilization of love and light, and because this, like, it's just sort of creating a natural dissolving of the old system, and you're going to see the collapse of it. All this is going to collapse. All this is going to collapse. The tower, Big Ben, their tower that they've built is going to go down. You see the tower, the tarot card, the tower. If you try and build a reality based on like physical reality and darkness, it will all crumble, and this is what's going to happen. The tower is going to fall, the Tower of London is going to come down, the economy is going to start to collapse. It's all going to start to come out that like David Cameron and Barack Obama have been manipulated by these alphabet soup organisations, by these Illuminati systems. No one knows what the fuck's going on for real, but it's very clear the dark strings in the background manipulating these people, and it's all going to start to come out over the next few months. We're going to see a complete socioeconomic collapse across the world, and this is why I'm talking about this, because it's time to start building a new system. As soon as see, most of you probably think I'm still going off my head and I'm a little bit crazy, but this is all going to happen over the next few months. You're going to see the economy begin to collapse, and this is all being engineered. Also, there's also positive forces in the background. The alliance, as like David Wilcock calls it, it's not, and there's also positive people within God. You know, it's not all darkness. You know, I guarantee you there's a lot of light workers in there waiting for the call, waiting for the moment to start disclosing this information and to start telling the public what's really happening. And this is going to happen towards the end of the year. So this is why I'm talking about this, because when it all starts to happen, we've got to understand that this is the evolution of consciousness, and a new fourth density golden age is being birthed, and the old system has to collapse for the new system to be birthed. But the sooner we can see that the old system is collapsing, we can all start working together with projects like the Venus Project, with projects like Trinfinity Corporation run by Bentigio Massaro. There's lots of people. We're all working in the background to build a new system, so that when the old system starts to collapse, this new system is in place to build a new fourth density golden age of love, light, compassion and service to others, a heartfelt, true compassion, true soul-oriented society. And this is all going to start happening over the next few months. The shit is about to hit the fan, as they say in conspiracy world. But luckily, we're not the shit they are, and this is all good. So now's the time to start building the new systems, the new economic system. I mean, Bitcoin looks interesting. Look into Bitcoin, possible new economy, and see this is all here. It's all in place. We'd have nothing to fear, because there's millions of people across the world that understand this is going to happen. We can very easily create a new economy, a new trade system. It's quite easy to create world trade and an easy economy when it's not, because 90% of global wealth is filtered into like rich people like them and their black budget war projects. And when all the money isn't filtered into that, it's really easy to build a sustainable civilization. So that's why I'm talking about this. It's going to be easy to build the new golden age. It's just like that. It's going to happen. So have no fear. When it all starts to collapse, it's excellent. It's the birthing of the golden age. Have a wonderful day. Shibai.